Why are African voices being silenced? Why are journalists jailed, dissidents hunted, and truth-tellers labeled enemies of the state? Because freedom of speech, the lifeblood of any sovereign nation, is under siege across the continent. And the deeper question is why, and who benefits from keeping Africa quiet? Let's rewind. During colonial rule, African voices were muzzled to protect imperial interests. The pen was feared more than the sword, because truth is power. Today, even after so-called independence, we see the same tactics wearing different uniforms. Leaders who speak of order and security often mean obedience, not justice. And many of them, yes, operate with the silent approval of Western powers who prefer a weak, divided, and voiceless Africa. From Nigeria to Uganda, Kenya to Sudan, voices of dissent are being criminalized. Why? Social media activists are tracked. Independent journalists disappear. Protesters face live bullets, not dialogue. In countries like Ethiopia and Rwanda, governments invoke national unity while curbing digital freedoms. In Cameroon, the press is labeled terrorist. In Egypt, thousands rot in jails for daring to question power. But who arms these governments? Who provides the surveillance tech? Who sells the tear gas, the spyware, the tools of repression? Often, the answer points to so-called democratic allies in the West. Make no mistake, this is not just about speech. It's about sovereignty. A silenced Africa is an Africa easier to control and manipulate. When people cannot speak, they cannot organize. When they cannot organize, they cannot demand change. And that serves not just corrupt leaders, but foreign interests who exploit African silence for profit, minerals, and military bases. The attack on speech is an attack on every African's dignity. It kills innovation, hinders justice, and stops nations from evolving. It turns patriotism into paranoia. And it tells the youth, the continent's future, that truth has no place in their motherland. But they are wrong. There's a global shift happening. The West's monopoly on morality is crumbling. The world is tired of double standards, where freedom is demanded in Ukraine but denied in Congo. Where press freedom is sacred in Paris, but disposable in Ouagadougou. Africa is no longer begging for seats at the table, we are building our own. From Pan-African alliances to anti-imperialist movements, the continent is rising. And that rise cannot happen without truth. So to every African journalist, activist, artist, and freedom fighter, do not be silent. Because every time you speak, you're defending not just speech, but Africa's soul. The world is watching. Africa is awakening. And our voices? They will never be silenced again. Subscribe for more.